And then for the vastus medialis, if we want to target more the vastus medialis, because the vastus medialis is more of the medial muscle of the quadricep group, we want to go into lateral or external rotation of the tibia to get greater myofascial tension along the medial aspect. So for this one right over here, I'm just going to... Hey everyone, Steven here from Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to squat by demonstrating some squat regressions. Specifically, we are going to be demonstrating for you the quarter squat. The squat is one of the best exercises that you can perform, and it's a movement pattern that you perform on a daily basis. Every single time you go to stand up or sit down, you are squatting. Every single time you go to drop the Browns off at the Super Bowl, you are squatting. Every single time you go to get into your car, you are essentially doing a pistol squat with a lateral shift and a twist. It is one of the 7 primal patterns, along with pushing, pulling, bending, lunging, twisting, and gait. Unfortunately, one of the problems that most people either don't know how to squat properly or they lack the proper mechanics in their hips, knee, or ankles, and they have some type of dysfunction in that area. So if you are somebody that can't squat properly, or if you have problems in any one of those areas, these squat regressions would be an excellent way for you to be able to learn how to squat. This is going to be the quarter squat, and this is also going to be a progression to the box squat. If you guys haven't seen the box squat video, I'm going to link right up over here to that video. But with regards to the quarter squat, the reason why this is going to be a little bit easier than your typical squat is because we are limiting the range of motion. With a quarter squat, we are only squatting down until the knees are at a 90-degree angle. So because we're not going all the way down, less range of motion, less muscle activation, and it's going to be a lot easier for people, especially if they have any issues with regard to weakness in the actual legs. Now, for this one right over here, I'm going to have Cassandra stand off to the side, and she's going to demonstrate the quarter squat. But as with all the other squats, everything else is going to be exactly the same. The pelvis is going to be in retroversion, shoulders are going to be held back, the chin is tucked in, crown of the head is up toward the sky, and the eyes are going to be looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension. And then once she initiates the movement, she's going to squat down until the knees reach a 90-degree angle, and she wants to maintain a neutral spine, and her torso should be parallel or higher to her shin. So I'm going to have her perform a couple of repetitions. So that is even too far for her. She doesn't need to go that far. With a quarter squat, you're just going down to 90 degrees. So you're going to slowly come down until I tell you to stop and back up. That is the range of motion that you need for a quarter squat. So I'm going to have you just do a couple more and back up. And one more. Okay, and that is basically the quarter squat. Now I'm going to show you from the front. As with all of the other squats that we've been showing you over the last several weeks, we can play around with the different foot position and also the width of the stance, and that's going to elicit a different response, and it's going to target different muscle fibers. If you recall, with regard to the quadricep group, we have 3 main knee extensors. We have the vastus medialis, which is the most medial, vastus intermedius, which is right down the middle, and then the vastus lateralis, which is going to be the most lateral of the quadricep group. We also have the rectus femoris, but that also has an attachment to the anterior-inferior iliac spine, which means it's also a hip flexor. The 3 quadricep extensors that are pure extensors are going to be the 3 that I just listed. If we want to place more emphasis on the vastus lateralis is the most lateral of the quadricep group. So what we would want to do is go into medial rotation of the tibia. So you're going to point your toes slightly in. So I'm going to have Cassandra stand with her feet shoulder width apart, and she's going to slightly turn her toes in. Same thing with the right foot. If you recall, when we're doing this specific position, the vastus lateralis, you just want about 5 to 10 degrees of medial rotation of the tibia, because any more than that, you're going to place a lot of torque on the knee. But this, everything else is going to be the exact same. So pelvis is in retroversion, shoulders held back, chin tucked in, crown of the head is up, eyes are looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension. And with regard to the torso, it's going to be parallel or higher to her shins the entire movement. So I'm going to just have Cassandra do a few repetitions in this position right over here. And when you're doing this, you want your knees going straight ahead. So you don't want your knees caving into the side. So keep the medial rotation of the tibia, but your knees, you want them going straight in front. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. And this right over here is the quarter squat with an emphasis on the vastus lateralis fibers. Next, for the vastus intermedius, that was the one that we demonstrated from the side. For that one, your toes are going to be pointing straight ahead, and your knees are going to track in line with your toes. And then for the vastus medialis, if we want to target more the vastus medialis, because the vastus medialis is more of the medial muscle of the quadricep group, we want to go into lateral or external rotation of the tibia to get greater myofascial tension along the medial aspect. So for this one right over here, I'm just going to have Cassandra stand with her feet shoulder width apart. She's going to go into external rotation of the tibia with both feet. And same thing, the knees, she wants them going straight ahead as she squats down into a quarter squat at 90 degrees. And right now, this right over here, this is going to be targeting more the vastus medialis because of the orientation of the actual feet. Aside from the internal and external rotation of the tibia, we can also play with the level of abduction and adduction of the thighs, so the width of the stance. With regard to this part over here, the more narrow our stance, the more narrow our base of support, the less stable we're going to be, the more core activation that's going to be required. And also we're going to be targeting more the lateral aspect of the thigh, whereas when we get into a wider stance, because we're wider, we have a wider base of support, we're more stable, we don't require as much core activation, and also we're going to be targeting more the medial aspect of the thighs, so things like your vastus medialis and also your adductor muscles. So I'm going to have Cassandra demonstrate a couple of different variations. The first one is going to be in a wide stance. So right now, we're going to point your toes kind of straight ahead, not too far out to the side. Get a little bit wider with your stance. Perfect. And now we're going to go down into a quarter squat. So right now, we're targeting more the adductor muscles, and also we're targeting a little bit more of the vastus medialis. And then if we wanted to target more of the vastus lateralis and more the abductors of the thigh and just in general the lateral aspect of the thigh, we would bring the feet closer together. So let's bring your feet so that they're touching. Point your toes straight ahead, and we would do the exact same thing now. You're going to squat down until 90 degrees, perfect, come back up. Everything else is exactly the same. Pelvis is in retroversion, shoulders held back, chin tucked in, crown of the head is up, eyes are looking down at the floor to put the dura mater under tension, and the spine is parallel or higher to your shins. And as with the other variations, we can also couple the movements. So you can go wide stance with your feet internally rotated, neutral, externally rotated, and then same thing with the feet together. But that is pretty much it for the quarter squat and the different variations that you can perform. You can try these different ones out, see which one is the most difficult for you, whichever one you have the most difficulty with. That's probably the one that you need the most, and that's the one that you can start with. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.